Hey guys, Sean Little of Very Patrol Tactical, and today I'm going to talk about stability and getting into position. So I've got my M40A5, my newly renovated M40A5 with a new paint job. She's looking all pretty. But I'm going to show you what I do to get into position, how I get stability, and how I do it in a simple manner. So there's an acronym in the military that's called KISS, Keep It Simple Stupid, and that's kind of how I operate. Me being a Marine, that's the best way to operate, okay? I like things simple, I like things easy. I don't like to convolute things and make them complicated. And I'm gonna show you how I get into position and how I do things, because I think you'll find that I have better control and I have better stability and I get into position quickly. And then where this really matters is under stress or under operational conditions, right? So if you're a law enforcement or a military sniper, you need to be able to get in and out of position quickly. I'm going to show you guys how I do it, and if you guys like the way I do it, hit me up. I'd be happy to do a private lesson for you and show you and fine-tune it for yourself. All right, so the very first thing I do is I position the rifle to the target, right? So you guys can see my 100-yard target down there. When I place the rifle, I'm trying to place the rifle as best as possible so that the rifle points towards the target. Step number one, pretty easy. If you use a bag, great. Make sure your bag is supporting the toe end of your stock. If not, not a big deal. I'll show you how to manage that if you don't use a bag. All right, so when I get down on the gun, I'm going to get down on the gun and I'm going to scoop it with my left hand. I'm a right-handed shooter. So I'm going to scoop with my left hand. And I'm going to orientate to the target. Make sure I'm at elevation and windage and everything is all zeroed out. So from right here, I'm going to adjust my body position so that I am pointed at the target. So what I should get is I should get gun alignment and I should get my natural point of aim, which is your body alignment behind the rifle. I want the rifle pointed at the target. I want my body lined up behind the rifle so that it naturally points at the target. All right, so once I've orientated the rifle and I get down behind the rifle, I'm going to scoop with my left hand. My left hand becomes my control hand, okay? So what I like to do is I like to tuck a couple of fingers up underneath the stock. Now, on my stock, I've got this little hook right here. Most of the chassis and stocks these days are going to have some sort of a hook or a chassis. The web of my hand right here goes right into that hook. And then I just fold my fingers underneath. And this gives me gross elevation to put as many fingers under here as I want. The bag is to support my hand. So when I control the elevation with this and then I plant my big fat head on top, and I'm going to use the trigger cam so you guys can see what I'm doing, okay? So kind of a big target that's set up for night vision tonight. So my control hand right here, and I get my natural point aim set, and all I do is breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. And you notice that the reticle goes up and down. So I've already got stability right here. This is my control hand. This is controlling gross and fine-tune elevation. If I need to fine-tune elevation, all I'm doing is squeezing my hand. My head plants on top and anchors the gun. If I need more elevation, I can adjust the bag to support my hand better, but I want my hand doing most of the work. So right there, as you can see, even with me talking, I'm not leaving the tip of that diamond. So I already have established most of my stability right there. So once I come in, close my bolt, and I grip the gun, now you guys can see my heartbeat, right? So my heartbeat is being transmitted through my hands. So right there, I've already got stability. I have a tiny little bit of movement. So stability is based off of how still can I get this thing. I'm only using one hand currently with my head resting on top of the stock, and I've already got really good stability. But when we look at how much my reticle is moving, how much real movement is that? Is it a 1/16 of an inch? Is it an 1/8 of an inch? Is it a 1/4 of an inch? Is it 3 inches? How much real movement am I getting out of the reticle? So when I plant down and I set it up, and then I add my other hand, I'm adding my other hand to get a little bit more stable, but my heartbeat is being transmitted through my hands. When I cycle the bolt, if I have a good grip on the stock, I don't leave the target. I just cycle the bolt, keep my head on the stock. Now you're noticing like I'm drifting to the right a little bit. That's natural point of aim, right? So if I adjust a little bit, all I'm doing is shifting my hips to the right to get my reticle to go to the left. Because what I want is I want to be able to sit here and relax and not really have any kind of a movement. So once I add my second hand, it's there and it doesn't move. Okay. Now let's say that I got into position and my rifle isn't pointed towards my target. So let's say it was pointed at this dirt mound over here, which you guys can see in the trigger cam, is if I shift my body, I shift the gun to point, I'm already in position, gun's already orientated, but if I shift the gun to line up on the target, when I relax, I go back to this other position, right? So a lot of times, if we don't have good natural point of aim, you're going to string your shots to the right because your natural point of aim is not lined up. So once I get my hips, my elbows and my shoulders lined up, and I get to relax this hand, again, I'm on, close the bolt, set it up, make it stable. How much real movement am I getting? Even with me talking, I'm not leaving that target. Hopefully you guys can see this. Point of aim reference, or let's talk about point of aim, right? As I sit here and relax, so what I want, and what I'm using the bag for, is just to support my hand. The bag is up underneath my hand. I'm not having to lift the stock or float the back of the end of the stock. The bag is fully supporting my hand, and my hand is doing gross elevation so that I can get it where I want it to be. So right there, I'm stable. And granted, my heartbeat is probably moving the reticle 1/4 of an inch, but all I got to do is focus on what I'm doing with my trigger finger. I just ignore that little bit of movement because the gun may not shoot 1/4 MOA, right? If it does, that's great. If it doesn't, so that stability that you're looking for, that point of aim, my heartbeat is maybe making 1/4 of an inch movement. I just ignore it. I concentrate on what I'm doing with my trigger finger because my trigger finger, 90 degrees, got it where I want it to be. Nothing else moves. Isolate my trigger finger, build pressure on the trigger until the gun goes bang, fall through, keep my finger on the trigger, keep my face and my eye in the stock, and then we're in the scope. And then I watch that thing recoil and I'm tracking the reticle. Once I cycle the bolt, set it back up, everything exactly the same way, back into position, back into that point of aim, looking at my stability, looking for any kind of drift, and then breaking the shot. All right, so when I go out to a piece of steel, okay, so go to the 500-yard steel. I'm going to set up on this 500-yard steel again, and I'm going to pick that head target. Got to get my parallax set, right? Should be in focus, but right there, get my cant down so that I'm not tilted. All right, so right there, right there with only my support hand, right there only with my support hand, I've got stability. My head's planted, gun's stable. Even with me talking, it's not leaving that head. So this is the foundation. This hand right here is the foundation of everything I'm trying to do. So right there, got it set. I have my other hand, get it perfectly centered. Right up if I cycle the bolt. And you notice when I break the shot, the reticle does not move, okay? If you can't break the shot properly and the reticle moves on you, you're not doing your trigger control right. And this is where dry practice comes into play 1000%. So let me get set back up. All right, same thing. All right, let's go to the MOA target right there. That's a 5-inch circle at 500 yards. So I want to get my elevation set right there. I'm not moving. Even with me talking, I'm not moving, right? I have a solid foundation and stability right there. When I set it up, I have my other hand, build pressure on the trigger, does not move, okay? So that's what I'm looking for when we talk about stability. Absolute stability. We're not looking for it comes into the target every so often. We're looking for I can get it on and I can hold it on, no problem, on any target at any distance. So that stability is the foundation of your marksmanship right there. Pressing the trigger is the last influence you have on the rifle before it fires. Your fingers need to be anchored. Your thumb needs to be anchored. Your finger needs to be 90 degrees on the trigger so that you're able to manipulate this trigger without any kind of influence, right? Straight to the rear every single time, no matter what. So hopefully this video helps you guys in kind of doing some basic stuff, right? This is basic marksmanship 101 right here. Getting the gun set, getting it stable, pressing the trigger, right? Whether you load or don't load the bipod, that's up to you. There's certain guns that I've had over the years that absolutely have to load the bipod. Other guns, I don't have to load the bipod. I think a lot of it's based on weight and what kind of recoil management devices you have on your gun. But this gun likes to be gripped fairly tight. I do have to put a little slight bit of influence into the bipod, and then everything else is just stability and marksmanship. So, all right, guys. Hopefully you guys like this video, and please comment below if this helps you. If it doesn't help you and you want to tell me I'm stupid, then go right ahead.